Hey, this is Kaya, Aaron. We are honored to be here with Miss Fashion influencers and podcasters, the Solomon sisters, Elana and Dina. Hello, and how are you guys?
Hi. We're so happy to be here. We're doing great. How are you?
We're just celebrating the new year, keeping the good energy flowing, keeping it going, and, hoping it's a lot better than last year,
Yeah. Only go up, hopefully.
Yeah, exactly.
I think a good thing in terms of Bravo World is that at least like last year we weren't expecting any slowdown or any like lack of content, and this year we know they've got things together, so we won't have what happened to us last year where there was like this kind of empty. Yeah, it was horrible, and we had to deal with Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, so that won't happen to us again.
Hopefully Real Housewives of Beverly Hills is going to be better this season because, they added some people on, and, freaking Paris Hilton's mom, that's going to be amazing. I just saw that. I think she did her first confessional and her look is really cute. I just hate that so many people from there had coronavirus at the same time. That's literally so scary.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah. But I really hope, like what you said, that with like the new energy, it won't, because I know all of these shows are produced, like the women are producing, but I love the elegance of Lisa Vanderpump, and just Kyle and Lisa Rinna's producing. We sense it, we get it. So I don't want to see that anymore. I need to see this. I want Garcelle to be the focus. She's my favorite. Yeah. So Garcelle and I do like Dorit, but sometimes she annoys me.
That's totally understandable. I think that Dorit last season, she had a really good season. Like, before people were kind of like, they don't really know how they feel about Dorit. But last season, she seemed to be more neutral, especially with the whole Denise Richards thing. And it's just like, what's the big freaking deal? So I did not expect that from her. And I like her a lot more. And then, we're going to talk about fashion later on, but she's definitely one of my style icons.
She is so unafraid with fashion, and it's such a pleasure to watch. But I am so over Erica, and the fact that they didn't fire her gives me such a like apprehensive feeling towards the upcoming season, because I feel like she gives us nothing. Like visually she gives us a lot, but not in terms of her plotline.
Yeah, well, actually I heard that, she's, when it comes to like lawsuits and all these things, there's only so much you can say. Every time someone gets sued, it's like, oh, we can't say anything because we're wrapped up in legal, which I get. But when it comes to the divorce, she better talk about that divorce. And I was also thinking that, she might be fired because of this whole case, because it's getting a lot more serious than we originally thought that it was. And I hope that's not the case, unless, she really did something completely fucked up. And she was like really involved in it. So then,
yeah, I agree with you. I heard that because I saw on a few different things like that they're saying, she's saying she's gonna talk so much. I want to see if that's really true, because I think she's good at pretending like she's giving us so much information, where when you really think of it,
it's not a lot. Yeah, she's been on multiple seasons and we don't really know anything about not just like her home life, but her relationship with her husband. And it's always like the excuses that, he's older and, they fell in love. But it's just like, now, if you're divorcing him, you need to tell us why you're divorcing him.
I hope we get... sorry.
No, I was just going to say, like, the legal stuff I totally get. And it's probably legitimate why she can't talk about it. Although it does seem like, since she signed a lot of things that are quite strange, that maybe she did know a bit of what she was getting herself into, so that's not great. But in terms of the divorce, there's really no reason why she wouldn't be able to talk. So I even want to know not just about her divorce, but about her marriage. Like, we know nothing. My complaint all throughout last season regarding Erica specifically was that she is kind of, she gaslights us. Like her outfits and her are so costumey, and she kind of knows when to pipe in just at the right time that we think she's involved, but she isn't. We know nothing about her, nothing about her son, nothing, like who's a police officer, nothing about her husband. Like, did he live with them at one point? What was that like? She left her husband, like her son, at times with her ex-husband. Like, what was that contrast of life for her son versus what she was living? Like, there's so many layers that we're not getting.
And I feel like in order for her to continue on The Housewife, if they don't end up firing her because of the whole legal thing, she's really going to have to bring it, because, you know, now they're realizing like, hey, you kind of need us, because she's going to need that money.
Of course.
She had husband's money. So she could kind of get away with it, with doing whatever she wants to do, because at the end of the day, she didn't really need Real Housewives. Like, she used it to, you know, do her music and you know, get on Broadway and just make a name for herself. And she's done that, but now she actually really needs that money from Bravo. So I'm excited to see what she does, and hopefully she gives a lot more of who she is and her backstory. You guys are totally right on that.
Yeah, but I don't think
excellent point from you.
I don't think she's gonna want to get caught up in the scandal at all.
Yeah.
If she wants to save her job, she has to.
So the best of luck.
Exactly. So we want to talk about Southern Charm. Last night's episode was so infuriating for like a lot of different reasons. It's not just like the white privilege that was shown, but it was also like the male privilege between like Austin and Craig and like that whole thing. Both of you guys saw the episode, right?
Yes.
Okay, so basically it was Madison. Was it Madison's? Madison had like a party, but it was also Austin's party. This was after.
But she took it away from him.
It was so confusing.
It was so weird. Who does that?
I let her get away with some things because I like when she used to put like Shep in his place, but now Shep has shown growth, and you know he's being a good kind of a good person or whatever. But this is after her and Craig had the conversation that Craig basically told Madison that Austin can't get over her, so she needs to stop talking to him, period, in order for the whole group to be able to even film together or be friends, because their relationship is just so toxic. So they have that conversation. Austin finds out what Craig said, that they met behind his back. He tells her that he's not going to the party, and then he ends up actually going to the party, which was weird. And Craig, of course, as usual, Craig and Catherine has this codependent kind of relationship where Craig always comes to the rescue to Catherine. So Catherine decides that, you know, she's going to show up with Craig. So they show up later on. It's very awkward. Like the entire party is very awkward just because Austin showed up when he said that he wasn't going to show up. When it comes to like the placing, the seating, it's just a whole mess for everyone who saw it. You already know what I'm talking about. But
God,
I love cringy TV.
Right?
When Madison starts yelling at him, just move where he's sitting so that they can come and sit in that place. It was so
unnecessary.
Doing that
because you also
that
saw
was probably my episode highlight.
when you also saw that like when they were placing the things down before everyone came, she was like, oh, where do we put Austin? And then Madison tells the woman like, oh, Austin's not coming. But when Austin came, she acted like he had no place there. Like they were originally like looking forward for him to come, so he had a place there.
Madison did not want him there.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay.
It was supposed to be his birthday party, right?
Yeah.
It's so weird that she decided to do it. But I agreed with Pringles when he was like, why did Austin even decide to come? But what were you saying? Sorry.
No, it was just weird. And then like I love Madison's style. So I really love what she wore to the thing. But it was so funny seeing Shep wear like his freaking beach wear, and like his girlfriend also didn't know that it was like a dressy event. So I'm like, I wonder like what they told him. Like, did Shep do it on purpose? Did Shep not do it on purpose? I think it's definitely in Shep's like character just to dress like that anyway.
Yeah.
But
I don't think his girlfriend would have. Like,
yeah.
I think if she had seen an invitation that suggested formal attire, she would have adhered to it. She might have let him do his thing.
Yeah.
But I feel like she would have shown up, right?
Yeah, she even said, she's like, what's I didn't know that we were supposed to like dress up. Like, because Taylor would definitely dress up. It was cute. I loved the scene at Gwen's where they all tried everything on and stuff like that. That was cute.
Yeah.
The actual party was definitely awkward. It was just between Danny trying to talk to Catherine and then sitting down, like the style of the seating was just awkward, and Madison and Austin just can't be in the same area with each other without bickering like an old married couple. So weird. And then Craig finally pulls
their relationship is so toxic.
It is, and it needs to stop because it's going on like off camera too, because Austin is like with Kristen Cavalieri, whatever the girl.
Really together. They're just screwing, like with her,
with the public or each other.
Well, no, I don't feel like they are screwing each other. I feel like they're.
I just didn't understand your question.
I think that she just said that she's just hanging out with him, but you know what? Madison is now hanging out with Kristen Cavalieri's ex-husband Jay Cutler, so it's like they're both like messing with each other's head.
Class act ladies, like just right there.
Yeah.
It's so weird.
I agree with what Craig said, though. They had no business being there together, and they need to separate.
No. And then Craig and Austin so like toxic. Dressing alike, the Mustard Brothers. It was so weird. But Craig,
the men on their show have like much healthier relationships with their bromantic relationships, if you will, than they do when they're in like their romantic relationships. They're so always like forgiving and listen and have each other's back in their best interest, like with their bros. But when it comes to the ladies in their life, they're so the opposite. Like there's like, for example, the way Shep treated his girlfriend when she got COVID versus I think the way he would be if it had been like Austin or Craig who was living with him and get it, I think would be totally opposite.
You think so? I thought that situation was kind of like crazy because I felt that Taylor wanted Shep to just get COVID with her and like live with her. Like that was weird to me because I understand that she wanted more attention and she felt like he kind of like pawned her off, but what did she expect? Like he wasn't trying to get COVID. Most of the male members of the cast were going out and partying. So it's like, I don't think that Taylor should have been mad at him the way that she was. And even the therapist agreed with Taylor, which was weird to me. And I'm just like, he didn't want to get COVID.
Yeah, but she said he didn't even call her.
Oh.
I agree if it was just that he wasn't like wanting her to stay in his house.
Yeah.
But she said like 2 episodes ago, I think it was. But she said like he wasn't even calling her or like
no emotional support
at all. Yeah. And she's like, you just shut me off. Like I was like some disease, disgusting thing. Like you didn't even want to talk to me.
Mm-hmm.
And that was where I was like, Shepherd. Like, no, that's so not okay. Like she was probably really scared too because like, I mean, it's still scary now, but we know a little bit more about it in the beginning.
When it first happened, it's worse. When she was like, but at least, she was with Craig and his new girlfriend, which was also weird. I guess we're going to get to know her a little bit more, but there's only 2 more episodes left. But you know what I didn't like is when Craig was like, the girls are so, their drama is just emotional, when that's literally not true at all. You know what's emotional? Emotional is when you want your best friend to stop dating a girl because you don't like their relationship. His friendship with Austin is emotional. So that was very misogynistic of him to say, especially when they're dealing with like the whole beef between Danny and Catherine is Danny is upset that Catherine went to Leva, who's a woman of color, to talk about her racist, what she did, instead of Danny, who's always been there for her. That's not emotional. That's actually a huge issue. And that was just annoying for Craig to say, especially considering that he went live with Tommy Lauren during that time. So he definitely should have shut the fuck up. And then when they finally got on the boat to go back, and like Catherine, she had already dismissed the owner of Gwen's, I forgot her name, the lady that owns Gwen's.
Yeah, she did. She like was so, but she also a Madison, or am I making that up?
What?
Oh, sorry.
What'd you say?
What'd you say?
Oh, I said, is her name also Madison, or did I just make that up?
I don't really
It's a Madison-like name if it isn't Madison. So I remember thinking,
girl, there's that girl. And then there's that beautiful new girl.
The one with the gray hair.
What gray hair?
What gray hair?
She has gray hair. She has a good deal of gray hairs. And I always think about it every time I see her, because she was on an episode of Below Deck and I recognized her because she had the gray streaks.
No, I don't know what you're talking about. She wasn't at the table.
Yeah, she's the one who's the owner of Gwen's. Listen, as someone with black hair.
No, not her.
I know it's gray early.
No, not her. There's the other girl. There was another new girl that they introduced.
Yeah, there's Benita, which is like the black girl, and then there's her friend.
She's so pretty.
She's so beautiful. But what was her name? The new girl?
The black girl, Benita.
Vanita.
But then there was another black girl that they had the conversation with about the statues going down. But Vanita was the only black girl that was there. Then it was Leva, and then it was the owner of Gwen's, and it was Danny.
Yeah.
And didn't you think she was really rude to her as well? I thought when she was trying to give her point of view and she basically told her
shut her down.
Yeah. And I thought even the way she did it, she was so like dismissive, and I couldn't believe that none of the girls had a reaction to say to her. Like, that's so like what she kept doing to everyone. Like, it was very weird. She's making everything into a scene. Like, it didn't seem like anyone else was. It seemed
because
like
Vanita tried to talk about how, the owner of Gwen's was upset because Catherine did not apologize to the owner of Gwen's, who is a woman of color, who was also offended by what she did. So then Catherine shut Vanita down, and she was like, well, I don't think that this should be a table conversation. So that was the first time that she was super dismissive. Then they went on the boat, and then the second time, like, they tried to like bring it up, and then Catherine, like, they move, and then Catherine's like, oh, I don't want an audience, and like she dismisses Leva, and she's like, well, I just feel like you guys are, trying to have an audience, and I don't want to talk about this in front of people. And then Austin butts in, and he's like, every woman on this boat is against her, when that's a literal lie. No one even said anything to Catherine. Austin should not have butt in, because number one, no one was talking to him. You're coddling Catherine, who did something extremely racist, who did affect her, and it has nothing to do with you. So why would you even butt in? So he's gonna get mad at Leva. I understand that Leva should not have said shut the fuck up 3 times. But at the same time, it's like, you need to shut the fuck up because you have nothing to do with this.
Yeah, I also agree like that why like Leva was probably really annoyed, because also she dismissed Danny too. She wasn't willing to hear. Catherine wasn't willing to hear anyone. So it was like every time somebody tried to talk to her, she was shutting them down, but then she was going back to the boys, and at least to, I think Elana and I are, and with you guys agree, like kind of playing the victim and being like, oh my God, you guys, like I'm just out here, and they all keep coming up.
And it's like,
and
if
she
you're
does
truly...
that baby voice, that husky baby voice that's like a baby who's like a bunch of Marble Light.
The boys are going to coddle her.
The boys are coddling her. And then on top of that...
Pat said it.
Go ahead.
Patricia said it in a few episodes back. I can't remember when, but it was when it was when Madison and Leva came to her house. Yeah. And in her confessional, Patricia said that the only reason Catherine's even on the show is because the boys coddle her and protect her for some reason. I'm like, because she gives them all blowjobs. Like,
listen. Listen, you remember, like, was that even season 1 or 2 when they're like, you hooked up with 4 guys at this table?
She slept with everyone but Craig,
And we don't even know about that.
Who knows what's happening with Craig?
Exactly. So,
like, honestly, they have this weird. Yeah, and I
relationship.
feel like the guys in Catherine have this weird thing with her. It's uncomfortable to watch because, like, it is misogynistic. There is privilege in there too, and all these other layers of things. But there also seems like something where she's sort of theirs, and it's like this other layer of everyone
Yeah.
else is outside, and she's almost in their boys' club. But like,
Yes.
I don't know, as like
No,
not a
you're right.
mascot, but dude,
You're
I
totally
yeah,
right.
and so it's
Yeah.
very frustrating to watch because it's like they're just protecting her without thinking of anything
Anyone
around what they're
else.
saying, just because in that like like knee-jerk protection, if you will.
Exactly. You are so right. And then I also feel like if Catherine was truly sorry, then she would actually be trying to apologize about what happened. I understand if you don't want to do it in front of everyone, but this is 2 times that you shut people down who's trying to talk to you about something. And then when Leva came up to her, Leva was even like saying like, you know what, I'm not trying to be mean to you. She just completely shut her down. And then for Austin to jump in like that as a white man who's literally protecting a white woman who said some racist ass shit, who went to Leva, who's a woman of color, for, to talk to feel better about, she could have at least owned gave her the decency and the respect to talk about it with her. So that's completely fucked up. And then for them to insinuate that Leva is a bully, it's just, the whole thing was so infuriating and I hated
But
it.
it was manipulative to do that too.
Yeah, and I also
Like
just
it kind of is like, oh, the aggressive woman versus like the innocent Catherine.
Yeah.
Because she's so good now at being calm when people are being crazy. And I personally, I know we kind of moved past it, but I find it obnoxious that she asked not to do it publicly. Like, you should be doing it publicly every chance you can. And in fact, the more people who are of color and the more people even who aren't that you're around that you can publicly say how ashamed you are, you should be looking for those opportunities, not like I only want to discuss one-on-one.
And then I don't know if you guys remember, like earlier in the episode when she when she reveals that she's dating Caleb, who's a black guy, she goes, "I'm dating, he's black." Like she can't even say the word black and straight up say it. It was so fucking weird.
It was so weird. And then in her confessional, when she basically implies that she started dating him after the comment, which even that in itself, like she's saying she wants to keep it private, to me does not make sense. You did this on a public platform. You are a reality show. So we're supposed to be seeing your life. You're talking to everyone about it, but then the people who have been affected or the people who actually want to have the open dialogue, you're shutting it down. She got mad at the store for putting out a statement.
Yes.
It blew my mind. I was like, so you have no remorse. You're just like
so she thought it was bullying. She calls everything bullying when she's the one who did it. And she's trying to convince people that she's not racist and that she's sorry. But number one, she doesn't want to talk about it. But when she does want to talk about it, she wants to slam people for literally not being there for her and for the store not speaking out on it. And she thought that the comment that the store made was bullying. The store was owned by a woman of color. So it's just so infuriating to even watch it.
All she had to do was just
but also
to her shit.
Yeah.
And just give a genuine apology to the public. She should have just did that twice and then you just shut up.
And then if you don't want to talk in front of everyone, why even show up to the fucking party? Stay your ass home. Like,
and then for her to feel like people are being threatening towards her when
they're not. They're literally coddling her.
And they're like, hey, we just want you to apologize so you don't look like shit. They're pretty much just saying that. It's like,
it's so weird. And
I just thought the whole thing with the conversation, like you said, with her bringing up the fact that she's dating like a black guy and the way she said it, it all just seems so manipulative. Like she was trying to get this certain point of view out. And I hate the way like the guys are just so on one point of view at this, because then it makes me, with characters that I did like, kind of want to back away and then like look at people so differently.
I used to like Craig a lot. I used to like Austin a lot until they did that shit with Tommy Lauren. Especially Craig specifically, but I heard that Austin was a part of it. I don't know, I didn't see that. I saw Craig with it. And then also like I used to like hate Shep because he was just such a womanizer, such a kid, he's such a piece of shit, but he's like kind of growing up and he was the only one who like even though I don't like the way he said, oh, you know, obviously you're not racist, but in his confessional, he at least said, yo, what she did was wrong. Like no one else, like Craig and Austin didn't really chastise her the way that they should have. And it's surprising because you have one that you don't expect, Shep, out of all people, saying what you did was wrong. And it's just like Craig and Austin are just protecting her like they're her, like she's a baby or something when she's the one who did it. So if you want to film with these people and you're filming with people of color, how dare you first say, I don't want an audience, refer to them as an audience? That's offensive. Like, who the fuck do you think you are? And to even just act the way that she acted was just disgusting. And Austin, again, shut the fuck up.
But that's how you're gonna act when you have people over here babying you every 5 seconds. It's like she's never gonna take responsibility.
None.
No, and every time she has apologized, I don't know if anyone else like has picked up on this, but it's really like one of my biggest irritation because all housewives do the I'm sorry, but you know, I don't know if you watch Band of Rock Rules, but one of the Toms always does that too, and they did like a montage last season that was excellent. But my point is that every time she apologized, she also kept lying and saying she didn't know she was talking to a person of color. So that was also very upsetting.
Sense. Even her explanation about like it didn't make sense.
But it was so annoying to hear someone say, I'm so sorry, I didn't know it was offensive. Also, I didn't know I was talking to someone of color and all these stuff when in a different part of the conversation, she was very clear that she did. Exactly. It's like she's not actually really even apologizing. And I think the reason she doesn't want an audience is because she wants to not to use this term too many times, but she wants to manipulate and gaslight and make the whoever she's talking to be like, oh, okay, she is innocent. Right. And it's harder to do in a group because other people will start remembering things and call her out. And the boys don't even know the information. Like they're not listening like they're as bad as she is. She doesn't listen, they don't listen. So it's easy to kind of say everyone else is in the wrong.
On top of that, it's not even just the monkey emoji. It's she did so many things after. She's like, you people, and like all this other shit. She said a bunch of shit. She didn't just make a monkey emoji. She went on. So she knew what the fuck she was doing. So don't act like, you know, you just made one mistake and everyone's trying to crucify you for it. Like that, I can't. I'm so done with her. And that show is just so shitty now that it's like, if they're going to go on, they're going to need Leva. They should bring in the owner of Gwen's. They need to keep Vanita. And, you know, Catherine needs to go. Craig needs to go. Austin and Madison's drama, I have to say it's entertaining, but it's like, I can do without them too, but they have to completely mix it up.
Yeah, I think Catherine, Austin, and like you said, I used to like Craig. I just kind of find him honestly sad at this point, and what he says, and he just seems to have like, I don't know. I feel like he needs to go back to university.
Stay on TV.
But like I feel like the three of them, especially, I want them to go. I don't care about Austin's like beer, and I don't care.
It's a flop, I
don't know. His story isn't engaging me, and I think Catherine, that she has kept this job as long as she has.
Yeah.
I don't understand it.
It doesn't work without, unfortunately, I'm saying don't bring Thomas back. He does not deserve to be on the show.
Yeah.
But Catherine's drama does not work without Thomas, therefore she needs to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, but also the whole cast, like Dina and I were talking about this earlier because we were talking actually about coming on this podcast and Southern Charm and just sort of our general thoughts. And one of the things that we were saying was that when the show was like at its inception, when Whitney was involved, it made sense when we'd see Patricia because Whitney was more involved. And now that he's stepped back and he's more just the executive producer role that, you know what I mean? And then like the whole show feels very fractured, and not that I love JD and Thomas, I think they're horrible people, but you know, like at the time of its inception, it was about these laissez-faire kind of Southern people, and it had like a kind of sense to it. And now it just seems like people who don't seem organic or natural. Right. And I think a full cast shakeup and maybe like one person like from the old cast just to kind of be like a throwback can stay, but for the most part, like I would be happy for them to get rid of all the old cast, keep the new cast they've entered, and put in some more people.
You're right. Or you know what, to even put a cap on it, Just take all the money from Southern Charm and put it into Southern Charm New Orleans.
Oh, yes.
Better idea.
That. That's such a better idea. I already miss them so much. I'm ready for like the season.
Yeah, Jeff got married to another woman in a wheelchair. You know, Reagan has a baby. The baby's so freaking cute. Tamika and Barry are as cute as ever. That whole thing, they're genuinely friends. They're in New Orleans. It's a cast full of white people, Black people, LGBT. Bring back Southern Charm New Orleans. And this is just a mess. It's a mess and it's infuriating. And I'm so glad we only have to sit through 2 more episodes until the season is over because it's literally pure shit. So
I agree. And side note, I think it's been really uncomfortable to watch Dani this season. Like, I feel like she has come across like so fragile and broken, but not in a way where obviously I'm rooting for him, not against her or something like that, but where it's almost like it's hard to watch. She doesn't come across as someone where she has this like, I don't know, it's not alluring. And I think that it's partly very difficult because to me, Catherine does take advantage of this woman who just clearly is like giving her support. And and so to watch her right now where she seems so broken and no one is addressing it, it's really hard to watch. And I feel like it's
each season she gets worse and worse. Like I feel like if you look at her when they even showed, I think, a flashback in this season of her when we first met her with Shep, and just how different she was to how she even looks, like physically, to like where she always like now I feel like seems like she's like shaking and about to like go into tears. I wonder what's happening behind the scenes.
Like with her real life, like is she going through something? And they don't show anything. It's just her chasing behind Catherine.
Which is weird. I feel like that's not her real life. I feel like it's probably a section of her life, but I think there's a lot more to her that could be interesting.
Shown.
Well,
seen her.
At one point, wasn't she engaged?
She was, and I think that they broke up, right?
Didn't he sleep?
I mean, I'm assuming it.
Didn't one of the girls of the cast last season claim that she hooked up with the guy that Dani was dating?
Yeah, I think it was actually Madison.
Madison.
Wasn't it?
Madison, actually, now that I think of it.
So
and
weird.
Also, she said Shep gave Madison chlamydia. Isn't that what Madison said?
Not Madison. It was Shep gave Dani chlamydia. And
yes, but Madison said
it. Yes, Madison said it. It was weird. It's too much. It's a mess.
So many layers.
So we'll put a wrap on Southern Charm. We're done talking about Southern Charm. They don't need any more of our freaking energy, but I'm just so glad it's wrapped up. I'm so glad we're all on the same page and we saw the same thing. So we are with the Solomon sisters. You guys are iconic for your fashions that you serve on Instagram. Yes. Like, I love your aesthetic. I love your Instagram. I love the way you guys dress. It's literally perfect. So we want to honor that by
Thank you.
Of course. We want to honor that by talking about the fashions of the housewives. I think we should start with Beverly Hills because those bitches serve looks for days. Who are your favorite, your best dressed Beverly Hills housewives?
I think Dina and I are tied on the same answer for Beverly Hills.
Yeah.
Who is it?
Dorit.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah. It's between like Dorit.
I don't think there's a comparison.
Yeah, Garcelle.
Erica to me though is more oh sorry, what?
Oh, I thought you said you like did you say and Garcelle or no?
I said Dorit and then Erica for me.
Oh, okay.
And Erica to me is too costumey. Like I like it in terms of it's great and it's fun, but it almost looks theatrical all the time. But she's a theater person, so it is true to her. But whereas Dorit, I'm like, ooh, I want to see this.
Yeah,
like wear that out
like every day too. And she got a lot of shit for like the Chanel, but I lived for that.
I loved it.
Yeah,
that was one of my favorite looks.
No, Dorit is like I think Dorit, like the way certain like stuff she's worn, because I think it's very similar to my style. I always end up like seeing pieces I own on her, or vice versa. So I just love like everything about Dorit in that way. But I think she's the best dressed right now.
Who do you think can, like catch up with her? Like, do you think there's anyone that can compete with Dorit fashion-wise?
On Beverly Hills?
Yeah.
So that's what I was saying. I actually think, okay, so Sutton and Garcelle have both in certain ways surprised me. Sutton, because she has some beautiful pieces, but doesn't seem to know how to put them together.
Thank you. It's just like, because she's rich, I get it. She owns amazing pieces, but she doesn't know how to put them together.
No, like, and not for her body type. Whoever is dressing her is not dressing, because she said she's like gained some weight. So I think like whoever's dressing her is dressing her for the size she used to be and not what maybe she is right now. Oh, sorry.
I don't think so. I think whoever's dressing her is giving, like, I think she put on this kind of like A-line dress, and instead of seeing that it makes her look like SpongeBob SquarePants, she kind of took it like, okay, it's hiding my fat in the middle, which is where I gained weight. It hides it, so I like it. And then she just bought every single brand who makes that cut. She bought it. And so I don't even know if I can blame the stylist, because I feel like she's the type that walks in and is like, I just want this cut.
Yeah, maybe. But I will say, every time Garcelle has, because I've actually loved some of Garcelle's outfits, especially when, like, was it on like the third or fourth day in the
black tour?
As soon as Garcelle saw that the Dorit and Erica were like using this as like a fashion show, I felt like she had her stylist run out.
Yeah, like she stepped it up.
And then like the rest of the season, I felt like Garcelle looked amazing, and I loved Garcelle's look on the reunion. So I'm just so excited to see what she's gonna do next year.
Right.
But the first dinner party look Garcelle wore was the black tulle with the white shirt, like tie, and I was like, I die for you. She had me there.
Yeah. I think that Garcelle, after Dorit and Erica, for me, she's definitely the third best dress. I think that Sutton, she just wears couture because it's couture, and that's what she's used to. I think she definitely needs to, I don't know, like, it doesn't have to be couture to look good. Just figure it out, figure something else out, because that's how they introduced her too. Because it's kind of Lisa Rinna's fault also. It's like, even the opening scene is just her buying all these expensive clothes and Lisa talking about how much money she has. So I think that kind of like became what you expected from her, and that's what she tried to serve, but it like didn't work.
It didn't. But if she wants to hire us, we can make it work.
We can make it work for her. But I do think that Lisa forced that like narrative on her, because if you watch this season, I rewatched it just out of boredom and wanting to, I guess, to make myself frustrated. And I noticed right away that Sutton never describes herself on those terms. Like, it's all from Lisa, who's screaming, she's rich, she's really rich, and like super tacky, like, but it's Rinna doing it, never Sutton. And even with the shopping, when we see her at her boutique, but when we see her actually shopping in Italy, she has like almost a nervous breakdown because she didn't want to be really shopping on TV. So I don't think it was really what she was bringing, except for like in commentary that was funny, you know what I mean, like very jesty, like, oh, I only do this or I only do that, but it was clearly also a bit tongue-in-cheek. Sorry, I'm quoting our
podcast.
It's a bit tongue-in-cheek. So I felt like Sutton could have been more, but it got sort of like almost like cut up to create, like, to fit what Rinna was putting out.
Yeah. And I hope that, you know what, it's going to be both Sutton and Garcelle's second season next time. So hopefully she is able to, you know, recoup, rethink, and look back on the episodes and see, you know, step it up. So, okay, now we're going to take it down to the South and go to Atlanta. Who do you think has the best fashions in Atlanta on the current cast?
Oh, current cast?
Current cast. Ooh. Okay, so Marlo is definitely in one of the top.
Marlo is my top.
Marlo's amazing. I mean, everything she does.
Can I use Marlo though? I know she's like
she's you know, on
she's
the
my
show.
favorite peach.
I didn't even think of Marlo.
She deserves the peach.
I think she won't allow for the peach to be given.
Yeah.
I've decided that as long as behind the scenes she's getting paid like she has a peach, I don't care if she has a peach as long as we get as much as her as possible.
She said that she really likes being halftime, well, not halftime, but like a friend of, because she doesn't have to be at everything, but she still gets to go on trips. She doesn't have to show too much of her personal life.
You get perks.
You get all the perks, and you get the money, and you get the fans and the promotion without having to, put your business out there. So if it works for her, it works for me, but I just like her so much that I want to see her more.
She's just amazing.
Me too. Exactly. Me too. But I also do think like for example, I thought Nene had a bit of a glow up. Like she obviously in its inception, I don't think her fashion was anything I would write home about. But even last season, when she was with her therapist, she was in this like blue dress and she had this necklace on that was all color. And I think it said love. And I was just like, she looks so beautiful. And it was such a like casual look for her, but it worked so well. And I felt like she really came into her own.
Yes.
And I appreciated it.
I definitely think Marlo is the best dress, and then Portia for me.
Yeah, Portia for me.
Mm-hmm. Portia and Candy for me at certain times. Like Candy, usually at the reunion and in certain confessionals, will blow me away.
Yes.
I'm like,
right, yeah, exactly. Like while filming, she doesn't really give anything worthy to talk about.
She
but
does
during
great
confessionals,
at
she does
I
amazing in
remember
reunion.
that shortcut look I really liked on Candy. I think it was last season. I want to say that was
in the confessional.
Yes.
Yes,
I know what you're
talking
but
about.
I think if we're talking about like looks, okay, super superficial, but I personally think Portia is the prettiest, and I feel like she always looks the best dressed, in part just because like her beauty overall, she gives the best like overall rating.
She's so lovely in every way. I love her.
But like anytime they do a close up on her face, like right now she has the confessional with the yellow earrings, and they'll do like a closer of her face, and I'm like, oh, you're just so pretty. Like I can't, like I'm not even paying attention to the full look. I'm just paying attention. Well, to the individual detail. It's like the full look, actually.
I will say, Kenya dresses like a pharmaceutical rep, but
because she loves a good power suit. I will say that.
She looks like she's ready to go sell those drugs. But in her confessional look, when she did that, it was like Cleopatra, right? Am I getting her wrong?
Yeah, when she was
she looks flawless.
The African, that was really beautiful.
Oh my god, everything.
Yeah,
so
she was talking about
but also anytime she does yellows, I think she looks gorgeous in
and
like a goldy yellow.
Don't you think she looks beautiful at the
reunion? She was the best dressed at last year's reunion.
Yeah, against her skin, like, because she has, beautiful darker skin, so the golden tones really it brings everything out. And Kenya's gorgeous anyway because she's a model and she's been all around the world.
She just
all the Atlanta housewives are like, for the most part, there's a few I can like think of over the years who have kind of been like, let's say, but for the most part, it's a very, very attractive cast.
Yeah, they're all stunning
with the looks. Yeah. So we're gonna slide on over to the Northeast Coast, and with our DC girls in Potomac, who do you have for best dress, like look wise, like serving looks, because they. We know it's not Giselle.
no. Giselle is. I think we even did a whole poll about Kyle and Giselle, and really the downfall that is becoming.
Like who's worse?
Like, what's your worst nightmare? I think I love for Potomac. Even in her ND, I'm really loving Karen this season.
Yes,
me too.
In her ND,
I'm still appreciating her, and I'm appreciating her for everything she's bringing. I mean, in that fight, that Fendi cape was definitely for me the highlight of a moment that I really zoomed in on. I think she's having a good moment, and I do think Candace. I've said this in our podcast. I think Candace. Certain pieces again. She has certain pieces that are so beautiful. She just puts them together in the worst way.
Like the whole jean.
The jean and diamond
with the white diamonds.
Did you realize I when they pointed out that in her Monique's video Drag Me, she did the diamonds and jeans?
Oh my god, I did not realize that.
rewatch it and then it takes on a whole new meaning.
That's hilarious. I definitely want to rewatch it. I'm gonna go with Karen and Monique. What about you?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Karen and Monique for sure. Yeah, I was gonna just go with Karen, but Monique for that reunion, I did like that look.
Yeah, and Monique's hair also.
But I actually think always on her point with her hair, but I think Monique actually, in terms of like wearability fashion too, like I think Monique dresses like while they're filming for the show, like more naturally than the other women. Like I feel like the other women look like they're dressing because they're being filmed. And Monique's look, even when they're a little more casual or more elevated, they feel very true to her, and she looks beautiful.
I don't think Robin or Ashley are ever dressing for the cameras. I think the two of them do.
No, but they are such a lost cause.
Blue band-aids on her on each side.
Yeah, the blue with the yellow dress. I literally was offended. I almost wrote to Ashley and was like, it's so rude to make me have to stare at you on camera like this. Like it's offensive to my eyes, and like if I was epileptic, I could have had an issue.
I have a question for you guys, since you're like stylists and fashion icons. What do you think would make Giselle, like if you could dress Giselle and give her some pointers, please tell us what you would do for Giselle?
Mulatto.
Oh, I've thought about this. First of all, I think that it's great that she likes fashion, like pieces that are edgy and still have a romantic touch. Like I think we can all remember the leather ruffly thing she wore. But it's how she pairs it. Like she put that with yoga trousers. Like learn how like an item is meant to be looking. And I would suggest her to start by looking maybe at the model photos, lookbook photos, so she can get inspired and wear it closer to its home base. And don't take a risky piece and put it in a risky situation. Be a little safer. And I think one of the other things is she is playful with color, and she's got gorgeous eyes. So for example, she loves magenta, and with her eye color it would pop further with it, but don't pair that with something that's already busy. And I think her problem is she takes a risk and then she takes an even bigger risk. Choose one risk and let that be a statement piece.
Oh my god, that's such good advice. Dina, do you have the same advice, or do you have another?
I think I would do the same thing with her. I feel like sometimes you'll see certain things that are like really pretty, but then you see how she just kind of it's almost to me like a 3-year-old if you let your child pick out their outfit and they're just so excited.
Everything.
They're like sparkles, leopard prints, crazy, rainbow, like anything that they can think of. Like, let's all throw it in and then see what happens. And on like a 3-year-old, it can be really cute. But with Giselle, especially because she's so beautiful, and also because her house also worries me. Like, I really think this is something it needs to like all around. Like maybe she should start the way Kanye and Kim have their house. Let's go very clean,
very minimalist, neutral, and build up.
Like get her into
their relationship. Rest in peace. Don't bring up Kanye and Kim right now. I'm still
maybe they haven't. I'd like to think maybe there's a chance for them.
I have a broken heart on this topic. Like no Kimye talk right now. I'm
a huge Kimye fan, and I don't care what anyone says. Like I was rooting for them.
Me too. I like literally had an emotional reaction. Like literally the Capitol was on fire and I was seeing memes about it, but thought they were talking about Kim and Kanye, and that totally made sense to me. That's how much I was affected.
And that's how much you're invested.
That felt it. Yeah. I was like, this feels right. And then I realized what they were talking about. I was like, okay, I was on a slightly different page, but that's also like same.
Okay, so now we are going to go to one of the fashion capitals of America, New York. For me, it's definitely Sonia that kind of brings it. But I don't really think that whole cast is all that good. They don't dress that. To be in New York, I feel like they don't dress as New York should be, you know? Like New York is like New York Fashion Week. You think of America, you think of fashion, and you think of New York and models and all of the stuff. And it's just like, they're rich and they're not bringing it. But if I had to choose, I would choose Sonia. So who would you choose?
I'd say Leah.
Leah
for sure. And that's
do you
that's
remember her confessional look with the gloves?
But some people like that look, Elana. My friend.
You know what?
I say no. I
don't really think that it's so much that we like these looks. I think we just have to say what we have. Like, these are our options.
Yeah, such a little option.
Yeah, I don't
know if I can do from current cast because my go-to answer to who I think is the best dressed for Honey is always going to be Tinsley.
Yeah,
I love Tinsley's style. I think she and I actually probably naturally quite have a very similar style where I have a lot of the same pieces as her. We both love Zimmerman, like we have a lot of the same golden goods, a lot of the same sort of brand attraction. And so I just look at her style, it's very like warm and inviting. And I definitely think if there's ever a cast who I don't think dresses for filming, it's New York. And Tinsley's like natural style I very much like. No one in the current cast, not one person do I think has good taste.
And that's so weird because they're in New York. So hopefully, you know, Ebony, who they're adding, and Bershawn Shaw, hopefully they bring some fashion to it.
I see some fur coat.
And we bring some, because you know who actually dresses like I would hope the New York cast dresses like? Salt Lake City actually brings better looks than New York. So now we're gonna move to Salt Lake City. Who is your favorite best dress on Salt Lake City?
Meredith and Lisa.
Meredith and Lisa.
But I will say Jen.
Yeah.
She will be, I'll be like, oh, Jen, you're so fun. That's like who I kind of want to be like when I want to go extra daring. But Lisa and Meredith, I think, are more true to like when I'm dressed, like I go more for those like every kind of day.
Every day, yeah. That's the same.
I love Meredith's style, but Lisa, I just think has that little extra spark. Like in the most
it's also her personality too. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, but the hot pink boots and the oversized men's shirts and like her hair half up and half down with the creams. I was like, you're bringing Lisa. I love you. And I want to step into this look.
She's so nice. And like, she dresses exactly like how you would expect her to dress. And they're bringing the fashion. Like we've never seen a background like Utah before. And, you know, they have to dress for the cold. So they're bringing the designer, they're bringing the coats, they're bringing the, you know, boots, everything. Our favorite is definitely Jen and Meredith. Jen. But oh my God, Mary is another person that's like Sutton. It's like, just because you can have it and you can put it on does not mean you should put it on. It's literally
her
insane.
Lufa dress.
I want to ask you, do you like any of her pieces?
There are certain, like if you look close enough, like where it's almost, I have to say, like, I feel
it's like a what's it called, a magnifying glass.
No, yeah, but they're like almost the Gucci runway shows because they always say on the shows it's like a fantasy, and then when you see the pieces, you get to see like the reality of the collection.
Right.
And with Mary, I feel like she's in that fantasy, and sometimes she's gone deep down in it.
She's gone way too. But I think that's what she does. I actually think she just has a stylist buy her the runway look, and I don't think she understands that runway's theater versus reality. You're supposed to wear it differently, and I don't think she has someone telling her that because they're probably just want her to spend the money on the full look.
Right.
Like a real stylist would advise her differently. Like there's a lot of looks where I can recognize that it's from the runway, but no one's supposed to wear straight off the runway unless you're on like a really
beautiful Valentino dress that she's wearing, the loofah dress. And we've both seen it worn like in these magical ways. And you see it on her.
And it's just plopped on.
It looks like to be from 21.
She just put it on. And she's like, let's go.
Yeah. Because she doesn't, because I don't think she totally gets it. I think, like, there's some very famous quote, I think Chanel, but I'm not 100% sure, but it's sort of like,
take one
fashion
thing
can
off.
be bought, but style can't be learned,
Right.
And I think, like, there's natural style. So I think that's what Marianne Crosby lacks, is sort of that natural instinct for fashion.
I just don't understand why she just doesn't look in the mirror and like judge it up just a little bit,
So we're gonna go
I
down.
genuinely think she puts it on and is like fashion.
Yeah, because it's just like she's like, well, this is Dior, this is Chanel. So regardless of what how I look, this is name brand.
But honestly, I have to
stress me out. Like seeing her bed.
Oh my God!
I can't. That gave me such anxiety.
Yeah.
No, but I ask myself, I like think I've gone on so many tangents, and Elana knows, like I have the same question every time I see Kyle, because you can tell she thinks she's a good dresser, and I just want to know when this started. Like, when did this lie happen?
Who told you? Who said that?
Because she said the cameraman like picked out her outfit for confessionals. It was like, this is why you look like that.
It's ever since she got the bangs. Like,
oh, the bangs, no.
Yeah.
Oh God, you the bangs.
Convinced the bangs were hiding a facelift, and she just didn't want us to know that she had like stitches.
Hey.
Another cast that's not really good dressers, Real Housewives of Dallas. Who is the best dressed? We would say Cameron.
Because that's all we have.
That's all we have there.
Oh, actually,
but I do think she.
Oh, sorry. I was gonna say, but
she's like
not on it anymore. But Carrie Duber, when she was on it, I think dressed very lovely. But I know now she's a friend of.
Yeah.
But I actually really like Cameron's style, and so even though no one else is bringing anything, I do think she brings it like at a good level. It's not just sort of
just
like scrounging the bottom. Yeah. But I think that Stephanie is so beautiful. Yeah. And I think sometimes she just looks pretty in her old outfit because of her face.
Yeah.
And like
she's like a Barbie doll.
And she also has like a nice, and she has such a nice like personality that like I just want to like the way she looks because I like her and her energy.
Yeah. Exactly.
But I think the new girl, I can't think of her name. What was
Tiffany?
The new girl's name?
She's adorable. Yeah,
Tiffany. I thought her outfit was so cute at the brunch, the little purple.
I thought she could be good.
I feel like she's gonna be my number one next season.
Yeah, because a lot of them don't really dress that well. So, well, I'm so glad that we got your opinion, and I'm so glad that we were able to see what you would do with Giselle. Can you please tell the Bravo While Black listeners where they can find your podcast and where they can find you on Instagram before we head on over to Patreon?
Yes, of course. You can find us on IG at Stylishly Solomon. You can find our podcast on Spotify as well as iTunes at Tongue and Chic with the Solomon Sisters. And of course, through IG, that will get you to our Get to Know It page. Again, Stylishly Solomon, as well as our Pinterest. And we have an Amazon page as well, all under that same name.
Amazing.
And Solomon is...
Good.
I was just going to say, and Solomon is spelled with all O's, like King Solomon, Solomon.
Yeah, perfect. Just in case. We wouldn't want to follow the wrong Solomons.
No, people have told us that they thought it was like Solo Man.
Yeah.
And then
with
they
an A or even an E if you want to like spell it out, but it's all O's. Make sure that you type in all O's. Stylishly Solomon, we follow them. So if you see us following them, that's the right profile. Thank you so much for doing Bravo While Black. It's so good to have you.
Thank you for having
you back. We had such a fun time, especially talking fashion, because we never really got to deep dive into fashion because we haven't talked to anyone who's into fashion. So this is a really good podcast, and I hope that you guys enjoy it. Please go on Apple. Please rate us 5 stars. It's really, really important. Also, listen to the Tongue in Cheek podcast by the Solomon Sisters. Rate them 5 stars. Follow them, and thank you so much. Patreon subscribers, we are about to record a Patreon with them, and we hope that you enjoy it.
Thank you so much for having us. Such an honor, really.